And your report highlights a significant governance gap in shadow AI use, revealing nearly 70% of C-suite executives prioritise speed over security compared to just 37% of frontline employees. Coming up, we're talking about that AI risk widening and an accusation of racial bias against an Aussie brand. For more, let's head to the Sunshine Coast. We're joined now by Dr. Karen Sutherland from the University of the Sunshine Coast. Great to see you. What's driving the C-suite's risky AI choices?
The need for speed. They want to be faster, but when they think about the security measures, it's, that doesn't matter. Let's just get this done ahead of time. So they're placing the need to be faster in their work above the security that needs to happen when you're using an AI tool, which is very concerning because you think people in that position would be leading by example.
Very much, but obviously right now there's this war, isn't there, of different companies, of the C-suite, of chairmen, of CEOs, of CTOs, even COOs, trying to beat the competitors when it comes to the speed of rollout of AI, because investors are pushing this.
Oh, absolutely. But this isn't just AI companies. These are everyday companies where the C-suite are starting to learn the benefits of using AI, but aren't doing it in the safe way that they expect their employees to.
Talk to us about frontline concerns, how they could be addressed. Is there a way to do both, to be fast and also to focus on security?
Yes, but it takes time. It takes time to really, first of all, map out the tasks that you think AI could be helpful in, and then assessing the risk in those different steps, and then giving employees the time to actually work with those workflows and integrate AI in that way. So then they become faster. But when you're rolling out any new technology, there's that learning period and that transition period, and then that will help. And in the end, of course, it will be faster and also safer, but just using it for everything to be faster is a real security risk.
Who truly benefits from shadow AI? What does it all mean?
Shadow AI is when people are using tools and methods of AI that are not approved in their organisation. And so this could end up in being, and I've heard horror stories where people are not using the approved tools, they're using their own personal accounts to upload highly sensitive information from their organisation into their personal account, sometimes the free accounts where the security measures are even lower, and using tools that way because it is faster and it's easier. And some of the tools are clearly better. So I find this happens a lot in companies where they're using Microsoft Copilot, because the other tools that they find they're using in their personal lives, they tend to think they're better than the tools governed and mandated by their employer. And so this is what leads to shadow AI.
We're also seeing a lot of big businesses in particular who are trying to build their own AI so that they can try and jump onto security. The only problem with that is whether or not people will be using that completely or still using their own personal ChatGPT or Claude accounts, and also the speed of building your own AI when your competitors are just using Claude.
That is true. That is true. And again, it's that transition period, and will it ever be better than these huge organisations, these AI platforms that are constantly updating their models? So will having companies creating their own AI even ever come close to what is available on a public basis? So yeah, so I think that is going to be the tension there. But I've known governmental organisations who have created their own, and their employees are using that because it allows them to access all of their own files and things without that security risk. But yeah, when compared to the outside models, yeah, I don't think they'll really be able to stack up. But I guess it's just a matter of teaching the benefits of using the internal tools as opposed to the publicly available ones.
Do you think executives are undermining their own policies here?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And it's almost like there's a rule for you and then there's a rule for me. Don't do as I say, don't do as I do. And yeah, that's a huge issue, of course. So how can people respect a policy when the person who created it and who approved it doesn't follow it themselves? So yeah, I think it's going to cause huge issues. It's a really interesting report. And to be honest, I did not expect that, because a lot of the senior managers that I'm working with are very cautious about the use of AI, but maybe that's what they're like when you see them. So they could be doing all sorts of things behind closed doors when they're under pressure.
Yeah, it's very funny. The ABC's been trying to build and roll out their own version of AI. They've chosen Claude, but the Australian newspaper had an article that the chairman, Kim Williams, has admitted that he still uses AI however he feels like it. So it just shows even these organisations that trade on trust can still have a management issue there. Let's talk about an Australian model who's now taking legal action against a menswear brand, Peter Jackson, alleging racial discrimination, the brand altering his image using AI to significantly lighten his appearance. I can't even believe that this is happening in this day and age. Talk to us about how this can reshape industry standards.
It is an issue, and it's not an isolated incident either, because another incident came out of a brand allegedly called Huffer in New Zealand. So what seems to be happening is that models will originally go on a shoot, and then their marketing or design department will then use those photos to recreate other images using AI and then use those in their publicity material. And so in this particular incident with Peter Jackson, allegedly, the model said he did a shoot for digital and was paid for that, but then he was walking past a Peter Jackson store and saw a likeness of his image being used on branding in store. So firstly, there's that. They hadn't actually paid for the use of that, but they'd altered it enough to maybe be able to go through a loophole. His skin was lighter, his nose was narrower, but it was clearly an image that looked very similar to the one that was taken that was used in more digital promotional materials. So yes, this is a real issue. And just anecdotally, I've heard that models are being hired less and less now with the use of AI. So it's going to really impact that industry as well.
Yeah, not just the industry, but also us, right? We had the conversation in the 90s of models being too skinny or a look being unattainable. We're seeing guys looks maxing these days, banging their face and jawline with a chisel. It's not just girls, it's boys that are feeling this massive pressure. And you wonder what impact AI and the perfection of AI will now have on that, the expectations that we put upon ourselves.
Oh, I agree, absolutely, because how can you ever stack up to an image that's not even of a real person? This is where education is really going to come into play, because I think younger people will be really influenced by that and try and meet these just outrageous beauty standards that really don't exist. They can't be attained for real people because they're AI powered.
We're essentially talking about ethical AI. Can that use be enforced, or does it come down to essentially pressure on companies and marketing departments like you and I talking about it on television, that they then say, all right, this has had a backlash, let's not do this. And therefore there's a bit of kind of self-awareness here.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be really upheld within the organisations and having those ethical guidelines for the use of AI, because AI is by its very nature biased. And if you're even giving it an image and getting it to alter it in some way, the thing is, when you get that first output, it's up to you to push back or be very specific in your prompt about what you want it to do or not to do. And so you are in control of that. So it's really teaching people how to use AI to be more inclusive and not to just accept the first thing that is given. But in this case, it's hard to know if that's the output that they actually wanted. So yeah, I think we'll learn more as this case unfolds.
All right, Dr. Karen Sutherland, appreciate your time as we deal with this AI Wild West together. We'll talk soon.